I'm Bella Perez Rubio, Puma Podcast, and in this episode of Teka Teka,
Every slain journalist weakens our collective ability to speak truth to power, to demand justice, transparency, and accountability, and to defend our basic rights. Upholding press freedom and protecting our journalists starts with the promotion of the rule of law. To dismantle the culture of impunity regarding media killings, we must identify, investigate, and prosecute those behind these heinous acts.
a year after the murder of radioman Percival Mabasa, better known as Percy Lapid, his family is still waiting for justice. The chilling effect on the media also persists.
His reporting offended and irked people of power and influence.
Para matakot silang questioning ka, pinaparatangan mong komunista. Hindi mo kasi sinusunod, pinakikinggan. Kami ang tunay na nagmamalasakit sa iyo sapagkat mahal namin ang bansa natin. Ang ipinangangas mo pagdating nung panahon na yun.
From corruption, human rights abuses, and government mismanagement, Percy was never afraid to tell the truth and to advocate for what is right. For Percy Lapid, the truth was always worth telling, no matter how difficult, unpopular, or deadly it is to do so. His story, unfortunately, is all too common in our supposedly free and democratic country.
That's Senator Risa Hontiveros speaking at a forum held at the University of the Philippines. On October 3, 2022, Percy Lapid was gunned down near his home in Las Piñas. Percy was a dogged critic of the Duterte and Marcos administrations.
Ito sasabihin ko sa inyo, iyang gobyerno ni Bongbong Marcos, papunta yan sa bangin. Maniwala kayo
Airing
sa
his
akin.
criticism mostly through his hard-hitting radio program, Lapid Fire. The alleged gunman who killed Lapid, Joel Escorial, surrendered and implicated several inmates. He also accused former Bureau of Corrections Chief Gerald Bantag of masterminding the killing.
Several high-ranking government officials were formally indicted for their roles in the death of Percy, including former Bucor Chief Gerald Bantag. I remain hopeful that Bantag and the other accused individuals on the run will be brought before the courts to face the charges against them.
Despite the warrants out for their arrest, Bantag and former Bucor official Ricardo Zulueta continue to walk free.
In 2022, the Global Watchdog Committee to Protect Journalists ranked the Philippines the 7th most dangerous country in the world for media workers, behind only active war zones like Somalia, Syria, Iraq, and South Sudan.
Percy was the second journalist killed under Bongbong Marcos's presidency. The first was radio broadcaster Ray Blanco, who was stabbed to death in Negros Occidental in September 2022. The third was another radio man, Crescenciano Bundukin, who was shot dead in Calapan City in May 2023. For Lapid's brother, Roy Mabasa, his murder is yet another stark reminder of the ongoing culture of impunity in the country.
Thousands of poor Filipinos killed in the brutal war on drugs. Former Senator De Lima, who remains incarcerated despite the absence of a single ounce of drug as evidence. My brother Percy, the death of the country's largest broadcast network, and our economy that thieving government officials continue to suck dry. They are among the victims of this culture of violence and impunity, mostly perpetuated by state actors. How can we put the rule of law and democracy back together again?
Here's veteran journalist Glenda Gloria speaking at the same event.
I think it's also important to remind us that what made Percy Lapid's killing so chilling was the fact that he was killed right here in Metro Manila. At some point in our lives, we all thought this was unthinkable. The records bear me out. Of the nearly 200 journalists killed since the ouster of Ferdinand Marcos Sr., nearly all of them worked and lived in the provinces, except Percy.
And as Senator Hontiveros reminds us, there are other threats to consider.
Filipino media workers also operate in an environment where journalists may be slapped with civil, criminal, or administrative charges due to their reporting. Our journalists have had to deal with rampant disinformation and propaganda campaigns, especially in the online space, which not only affect their reach and distribution, but also incite real-world violence against those in the media industry. Make no mistake, these attacks on journalists, whether physical or otherwise, represent a worsening challenge to Philippine democracy itself.
More on what's needed to protect journalists when we return.
The Philippines has a sorry track record when it comes to achieving justice for media killings. According to a report in 2022 by the Center for Media Freedom and Responsibility, of the 176 media workers killed in the Philippines since 1986, only 19 have resulted in conviction. Percy's case offers a unique opportunity to turn things around and set a model for obtaining justice in media killings.
That's Senator Risa Hontiveros again.
I believe that sooner rather than later, justice for Percy's death will be achieved. While we continue to clamor for the successful investigation and prosecution of media killings, we should also work on fostering an environment that guarantees journalists not only safety from physical violence, but also legal harassment. Alongside a growing coalition of partners within and outside the Senate, I will continue to push for the decriminalization of libel. I believe that more and more people are seeing that journalists should not be made to face criminal charges simply for doing their job.
A bill filed by Hontiveros seeking to decriminalize libel is stuck at the committee level in the Senate.
It is clear that much of the reforms which must be undertaken to stop media killings and better protect press freedom in the Philippines lie with the government. However, that does not mean that the rest of the country or the world should only watch and hope for the best.
Along that same vein, veteran journalist and Rappler executive editor Glenda Gloria laid out actionable steps for those outside of government.
What we need is for media organizations, community support groups, lawyers, and international institutions who are represented here to come together and support and sustain investigations into media killings with the rigor and commitment that is probably shown as an example by the mother of the disappeared activist Jonas Burgos. It's also important for us to talk about the elephant in the room. Media business owners must be held accountable and responsible for the safety of their staff. They should pay them well, train them well, and equip them with tools and knowledge, not just to be good journalists, but also to ensure their safety as they pursue journalism.
Lapid Fire, Percy's hard-hitting radio program, will soon resume airing. It will be hosted by his brother, Roy Mabasa. Roy has also been working to ensure that his brother's work will live on.
Today, on his first death anniversary, we, his family, and the Center for People's Media, with the financial support of the Czech Republic and the Czech Embassy in the Philippines, are officially launching the percylapid.com website, which contains archives of his radio and online shows, Lapid Fire, an ongoing project We are also adding updates on his cases as well. Support and visit the website. Yours truly with Air Lapid Fire again soon enough.
And that was today's episode of Teka Teka. Again, I'm Bella Perez Rubio. This episode was edited by Mark Casilian. Our executive producer is Jel Caro, and our senior news editor is Veronica Oy. Thanks for listening.